Hi, welcome everyone. Sorry, I had a little bit technical problem, but it has been resolved now. So, thank you very much, dear viewers. It's Saturday morning here in the UK, and our local time is 6:35 a.m. I'm with another subscribers lesson, IELTS, batch 1. So, I believe that we're going to have good time for the next 55 minutes. Because 5 minutes is almost gone. And if any of my subscribers are here, please do let me know so that you can hop on and we can have a conversation. All right. Today we are going to talk about IELTS basic reading techniques. So one moment, let me send message to my subscribers. So we're going to describe the cue card criteria of getting marks. It is not only the cue card, all of the IELTS speaking task. What are the criteria for getting marks? Okay, and the first one is fluency and coherence. You got 25%. Then lexical resources, another 25%. Grammatical range and accuracy, 25%. And the last one is pronunciation, another 25%. You may have noticed that there is no marks having an accent, though sometimes some people are confused about the differentiation of pronunciation and accent. Dear viewers, there are two kinds of pronunciation in English. One of them is British, another one is American, but accent is, there are hundreds, maybe I should say thousands, because each person has their own accent. And the best option would be to getting good marks is to follow the pronunciation techniques. Though there are some basic differences of these two techniques, but it's better to know the differences, how it works. Okay. I'm going to show you a video through which you'll be able to understand how these fluency and coherence, lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy and pronunciation works. Um, okay, so where is the so I'd like to show you video in the meantime so that you can get good idea. This video is from the British Council. The 4 criteria which are important to get marks in IELTS speaking task. Task 1, 2 and 3. As you might be aware, task 1 is general questions. Task 2 is cue card. And 3 is more detailed questions and answers.
So, you've decided to take the IELTS exam. Congratulations! Success starts with IELTS. The speaking test is divided into 3 sections. Part 1 is the introduction and general questions. Part 2 is the long turn, and Part 3 is an analytical discussion. It's important to understand the criteria on which you will be tested in the IELTS exam. First, we consider the criteria of fluency and coherence. This is one of 4 criteria on which you will be tested. We'll cover the other 3 in later videos. Fluency and coherence refer to your ability to speak at length, including organizing ideas logically and appropriately signposting. It also refers to your ability to express and justify opinions and to discuss and speculate about issues without long pauses or repetition of the same words. Signposting is the use of words or phrases that indicate the direction of your thoughts. We will give you some examples of this in a moment. Many students try memorizing large portions of speech to repeat during the speaking test, but this can add unnecessary stress and sound unnatural. We don't recommend this approach. Here are a few tips to improve your speaking test performance. As you are speaking about a topic, build on your point of view by adding a few details. For example, if the question is, "What do you do?" rather than responding with, "I am a teacher," you might expand this to, "I have been a high school mathematics teacher in New York for over 5 years." For part 2 of the test, use the bullet points on the task card to help you structure your long turn and make notes in the 1 minute that's given using key words. In part 3 particularly, it is important to develop your answers and to speak at length. You can do this by thinking of reasons, effects, comparisons, supporting examples, and personal experience. Just make sure you are signposting what you say. For example, discussing excessive TV watching, you might mention reasons, increasing numbers of TV channels compared to a generation ago, and the popularity of TV characters. Effects, increasing obesity levels, eyesight problems, and other health issues. Experience, my nephew watches nothing except cartoons. He will not study. Here are some examples of signposting for part 3 of the test. Compare, contrast. In my view, there are 2 main differences. Responding to a point. Yes, I agree because, or I'm not sure I agree with that. You see, speculating on the future. I think we'll probably see a lot of, or maybe there'll be more, or it's unlikely that we will have. Practice is the key to increasing your fluency. There are no shortcuts. Practice using English in everyday communication as much as you can. Record yourself talking about different subjects. Then play it back and listen for linking expressions, hesitation, words you may be repeating, and times when your speech is slow. This will help improve your fluency. The assessment criteria is the only thing on which you will be tested. You will not be assessed on your appearance, body language while speaking in the exam, or your creative ideas. IELTS examiners are very consistent with their application of the IELTS assessment criteria. It is the same assessment given everywhere in the country and everywhere in the world. For more information, please see the other speaking test videos, lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. So, you've decided to take the IELTS exam. Great choice. It's the test that opens doors around the world. Here, we look at the criteria of lexical resource. This is one of 4 criteria on which you will be tested. Look for the other 3 criteria in other videos. Lexical resource focuses on the range of vocabulary a candidate uses. The wider the range, the better you will score. You will need to understand these factors to score well on the test. The ability to use vocabulary effectively, including the right collocation, that is, words naturally used together. For instance, lions roar, lions do not shout. Alternatively, we make a phone call, we do not do a phone call. An awareness of connotation. This refers to the positive, neutral, or negative association some words have. For example, laid back, positive; inactive, neutral; lazy, negative; slim, thin, skinny. The use of less common vocabulary or expressions. Many candidates memorize impressive lists of vocabulary, but often end up using them in the wrong way because they haven't understood them properly. To improve your vocabulary, we recommend these steps. Always try to learn new vocabulary when reading in English. Look out for new words. Seeing words in their context helps you learn the meaning, usage, and collocation. Online newspapers are a good resource. These can also help you keep up on the vocabulary of current affairs. Group new vocabulary into related subjects and learn these together, rather than making long lists of unrelated words. For example, make a list of words about sports. Using mind maps often helps with this. Learn more synonyms. These are words or expressions which have a similar meaning. Knowledge of synonyms will help with all parts of the IELTS test. Try using a thesaurus. Make small word cards with the word written on one side of the card and the translation and an example sentence on the other side. You can then test yourself. Practice is the key. Not to memorize, but to practice discussing different topics, weaving in the vocabulary you have learned. Research shows practice improves test scores. Don't give up if you can't find the right word. Keep trying to explain what you mean, even if it takes a little longer. This is called paraphrasing. You will get credit for this. IELTS speaking tests include general, everyday topics. Specialist knowledge isn't expected. The topics are relevant to all of the 135 countries in which IELTS is used. For more information, please see the other speaking test videos: fluency and coherence, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation.
Okay, the third part is grammar.
So, you've decided to take the IELTS exam. Good for you. It's the test for study, work, and life. The IELTS speaking test is divided into 3 sections. Part 1 is an introduction and general questions. Part 2 is the long turn, and Part 3 is an analytical discussion. Here we look at the criteria of grammatical range and accuracy. Look for the other 3 criteria in other videos. This criteria focuses on the range and accuracy of the test taker's grammar while speaking. Look for our accompanying downloads for examples of the range of grammatical structure. The range of grammar includes using a variety of complex structures. These are sentences with multiple bits of information. Contrast that to separate, simple sentences with a single piece of information. For example, just beside the station was a stadium which was built in the 19th century and where games are now held every weekend. It isn't expected that candidates are 100% accurate. However, control is important. The Band 7 definition for grammatical range and accuracy says, frequently produces error-free sentences, though some grammatical mistakes persist. It's not just the number of grammatical mistakes, but also how seriously these mistakes block communication. To improve your grammar, take these steps. Be prepared. Make sure that you know the speaking test format and what type of questions to expect in each section. Many tasks in Part 2 of the IELTS speaking test relate to the past, so you most likely use past tenses. Ensure you know the past tenses of common verbs. Some questions in Part 3 ask you to speculate about the future, so use the right tenses in the answers to reflect this. Look out for the British Council's Johnny Grammar apps and videos that can help explain the commonly used tenses for you. Practice. Particularly think about the tenses you use. Ensure these relate to the questions. If the question asked is, "What did you do at work today?" the main word here is did, which is in the past tense, so your answer should be in the past tense too. For example, today I wrote a business brief. Don't worry if you realize you've made a mistake. It's okay to correct yourself. Record yourself speaking and listen to identify errors. IELTS results range from band scores of 1 to 9. However, there are not specific questions for different band scores, and there can't be, as the score isn't assigned until the end of the speaking test. Also, remember there are no quotas for IELTS band scores. Each individual is scored on their own merits. For more information, please see the other speaking test videos: Fluency and Coherence, Lexical Resource and Accuracy, and Pronunciation.
Okay, the last part is pronunciation, guys. Okay.
So, you've decided to take the IELTS exam. Well done. It's the test that's recognized and respected around the world. Here, we will look at the criteria of pronunciation. This is one of 4 criteria on which you will be tested. Look for the other 3 criteria in other videos. This criteria focuses on the accuracy and variety of pronunciation features, which include individual sounds. The spelling of a word can sometimes confuse this. For example, euphemism. Word stress. Stressing the wrong syllable in a word is a frequent error. For instance, it should be mistake, democracy. Word stress can be confusing when it changes with different parts of a word family. For instance, photograph, photography, photographic. Sentence stress. For instance, the way that some words in a sentence are emphasized or slightly louder. For example, if I were you, I'd go by bus. Intonation. The pitch of your voice changing as you talk. Monotone intonation is typical of someone who has memorized long responses. This may result in lower test scores. Chunking. Talking in a rhythm which delivers chunks of words with short silences in between. Good public speakers often use this skill. To improve your pronunciation, we recommend these steps. The first step is to find out how English intonation, sentence stress, and rhythm differ from your native language. Ensure you understand the effect of sentence stress and intonation on meaning. Then practice using these in different ways. Refer to a dictionary to confirm the correct word stress if you are unsure. Listening to a variety of authentic English sources will help you become familiar with a range of pronunciation features. For instance, listen to the BBC Radio or the Voice of America in whatever subjects interest you. Even if you're not listening closely, having the radio or television on in the background can help attune you to the rhythm and intonation of another language. Don't rush when you speak. That's a common mistake. You might skip sounds or words. It's better to speak clearly. Recording yourself can be very useful. Try to apply what you've learned about the different features of pronunciation in English. Chunking is a particular skill you can develop by recording yourself. The face-to-face nature of the IELTS speaking test encourages you to develop the skills you will need to interact successfully with English speakers. For more information, please see the other speaking test videos, Fluency and Coherence, Lexical Resource, and Grammatical Range and Accuracy.
All right, guys, so that the speaking ends. Today we're going to discuss writing. We're going to show the video as well.
So you have decided to take the IELTS exam. Congratulations. Success starts with IELTS. Here we look at the criteria of coherence and cohesion. This is one of 4 criteria on which your writing will be assessed. Look for our other 3 criteria videos. Coherence refers to the flow of your writing. Your ideas should be logically organized and appropriately sequenced into paragraphs so they are easy to understand and follow. Cohesion refers to linking words that help you connect ideas and show the relationship between paragraphs, sentences, or parts of sentences. So this criteria looks at how a writing test answer is organized and how to link information and ideas. Here is one simple way to sequence ideas for effective coherence for this Task 2 essay. For example, the threat of nuclear weapons maintains world peace. Nuclear power provides cheap and clean energy. The benefits of nuclear technology far outweigh the disadvantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Introduction. Paraphrase question and include your opinion. Body paragraphs. Arguments for nuclear technology. Body paragraphs. Against nuclear technology. Conclusion. Paraphrase your opinion. Plan your essay like this before you start writing. It's important to use paragraphs. These give structure to a piece of writing. Think of paragraphs as a signpost, telling whoever reads your work where your ideas are going and when you are moving on to a different point. Since paragraphs are used to explain your argument in stages, express one idea or set of ideas in each paragraph.
Hello,
a good way to
Anand.
start a paragraph is with a short, simple sentence that introduces the main idea of the paragraph. Teachers often call this a topic sentence. In the remainder of the paragraph, provide explanations, evidence, examples, or personal experiences to build on and extend that idea. Connect and show the relationship between your paragraphs and sentences by using a wide range of linking words or phrases appropriately. See our accompanying download for different examples. They are usually these types: introducing ideas, adding similar ideas, contrasting ideas, giving examples or evidence, explaining results, sequencing, providing explanations, sharing your experience, drawing conclusions, introducing your opinions. Linking can be done in a variety of other ways. For instance, through referencing by using pronouns. Firstly, I'm very happy to receive this award. Additionally, I would like to thank my colleagues. Without them, I wouldn't be standing here accepting this. And also using substitution. Famous people deserve a private life, but celebrities also sell newspapers. As you practice writing essays, review your writing and circle the different linking devices. Then, think about how you could use different words to avoid repetition. Don't overuse linking words or phrases, however. This becomes irritating for the reader. The key in using linking words is appropriacy. Ask yourself, is this necessary and does it match the content that follows? For more information, please see our other writing test videos: Task Achievement, Lexical Resources, and Grammatical Range and Accuracy.
So, you've decided to take the IELTS exam. Good for you. It's the test for study, work, and life. The IELTS writing test is divided into 2 tasks. The first task differs depending on the module you are taking. There are 2 IELTS modules. The IELTS academic module is generally taken by anyone intending to pursue higher education studies in an English-speaking institute or country. The IELTS general training module is generally taken for immigration or employment purposes. Here, we look at the criteria of task response for writing task 1 and task achievement for writing task 2. These represent one of 4 criteria on which you will be tested. Look for the other 3 criteria in other videos. These criteria focus on the degree to which the exam question has been answered properly. In the academic module, there is a writing task of at least 150 words where you should summarize, describe, or explain a table, graph, or diagram. You might be expected to make comparisons too. Successfully negotiating this academic task 1 means you will need to identify all the key features in the diagram. You might lose marks if important details are left out. Provide sufficient detail for a meaningful explanation, not too much detail, not too little. Ensure accuracy when referring to data or describing trends or processes. It's important to write a clear overview. This means summarizing the most significant trends or features from the data or information in the diagram. This is not simply an introduction to the topic. That's a common mistake. Here's an example of identifying significant trends. Looking at this graph, we would say, from the graph, it is apparent that participation of both men and women in full-time employment has increased over this time period. However, while the numbers of women are generally increasing, the numbers of men in part-time employment are fluctuating. In a question requesting a process description, the overview might identify the key stages in the process. For instance, how many stages there are and what each are, briefly. In the general training module, there is a letter writing task of at least 150 words. In this task, explain the reason for the letter. Include all the points mentioned in the question, and use a consistent and appropriate tone. In both modules, Task 2 is a short essay task of at least 250 words. You are expected to present your opinion on a specific topic, supporting your ideas with evidence. Task 2 contributes more to your overall writing mark than Task 1. To master Task 2, you will need to respond completely to all parts of the question. Develop and support your ideas. Don't just mention them in a single sentence and move on to the next idea. Add explanations, examples, or experience. Ensure your opinion is clear in your answer. Make sure you underline key words in the exam question. Identify how many parts there are to the question, and make sure you do everything you are asked to do. Before you write, plan your ideas, though keep them relevant. Then group and sequence them. Spending 2 to 3 minutes doing this can save you time when you are writing. Follow the recommended timings for each task and meet minimum word counts. For more information, please see the other writing test videos: Coherence and Cohesion, Lexical Resource, and Grammatical Range and Accuracy.
All right. So task response touch assignment, that's the first part. Coherence cohesions, the writing part. Then vocabulary. Then grammar.
So you have decided to take the IELTS exam. Great choice. It's the test that opens doors around the world. Here we look at the criteria of lexical resource. This is one of 4 criteria on which you will be tested. Look for the other 3 criteria in other videos. This criteria focuses on the range and accuracy of the vocabulary used in your writing. Here are a few tips to improve your vocabulary. Number 1, when you are learning English vocabulary, learn synonyms. This helps you to avoid repeating the same word. For example, learn different ways of describing changes or trends for Task 1 answers. For both Task 1 and Task 2 answers, try not to use too many words from the exam question in your response. Again, using synonyms can help here to reflect the same meaning. When analyzing your Task 2 exam question, you can brainstorm synonyms for the key words in the question and use these throughout your essay answer. Alternative forms of transport should be encouraged and international laws introduced to control car ownership and use. 2. Also, when you are learning vocabulary, don't learn one word at a time, learn word combinations. or collocation. Remember the way words are used together and avoid typical mistakes such as he was guilty of making a crime, he was guilty of committing a crime. 3. English words are often part of families. For instance, nowadays every economical is struggling. Nowadays every economic is struggling. Nowadays every economics is struggling. Nowadays every economy is struggling. When writing, use the correct word formation for the context. 4. Always leave time at end of the test to check your writing for errors and add in a wider range of language. Be sure you use less common vocabulary correctly. You are not trying to impress the examiner with your vocabulary. You are not being assessed on the creativity or the correctness of your ideas. You are demonstrating your ability to express and develop ideas precisely and effectively. For more information, please see the writing test videos, task achievement, coherence and cohesion, and grammatical range and accuracy.
Okay, there's another tip for the writing section. Writing part, grammar.
So, you've decided to take the IELTS exam. Well done. Our expertise is your opportunity. Here we look at the criteria of grammatical range and accuracy. This is one of 4 criteria on which you will be tested. Look for the other 3 criteria in other videos. This criteria focuses on the range and accuracy of the grammar demonstrated by the test taker. For grammatical range, consider whether what you are describing is something that happened in the past, use past tenses, is happening in the present, use similar present tenses, or is predicting the future, use a variety of future tenses. Sometimes you can use a combination of these different tenses. For example, when analyzing an IELTS Task 1 diagram, note the time period being described and use the matching tenses when describing the information. Demonstrating a range of written grammar might also mean using some of these tenses: comparatives, conditionals, modal verbs, and the passive tense, especially for Task 1 process descriptions. Look for our speaking and grammar download for examples of all these tenses. It's important to learn and practice a variety of grammatical tenses. In all writing tasks, also use a variety of complex structures. Complex structures are sentences with multiple bits of information. A simple sentence usually has a single piece of information. When you practice writing, transform simple sentences into more complex sentences by adding more information to the sentence. For example, ask yourself some WH questions to see what else you can add to the original sentence. For instance, these days everyone has a mobile phone. Think to yourself, who, what, why? These days, people of all generations have mobile phones, especially smartphones, because you can do so many things with them. In your writing, there should be a balance of simple and complex sentences. In addition, punctuation can change meaning. For instance, we got in through the window which someone had left open. We got in through the window which someone had left open. Students aren't expected to be 100% accurate in their writing. However, control is important. Some grammatical errors impact communication more than others. You will be scored according to the impact of errors on communication rather than on the number of mistakes. Leave time at the end of writing to identify and correct errors. You will always find grammar or spelling mistakes. Correcting these can improve your score. See the grammar checklist in the accompanying download. For more information, please see the other writing test videos: Coherence and Cohesion, Lexical Resource, and Grammatical Range and Accuracy.
Okay, so let's move on. Writing task 1, tips and advice.
Meet Yo Ching. He is preparing for the IELTS writing test. He knows the basic requirements, but has taken the IELTS writing test before and not achieved the score he wanted. He realizes he has been doing some things in IELTS writing task 1 that don't work. Yo Ching reflects on his study process. In the past, he has tried to describe every number on charts and graphs. He realizes he should have identified 2 to 3 main and significant points in each diagram and described these. He has also copied words from the exam question or from the titles of illustrations. This resulted in lower marks. In addition, he has used too many linking words or phrases just because he knows them. He realizes he needs a new plan for success in IELTS writing task 1. Yo Ching looks in on his friend Kai Sheng to find out how she has been successful. First, Kai Sheng reads the instructions carefully to understand what is required to fully complete the question. It is dangerous to rush answers before understanding the task first, so Kai Sheng takes her time doing this. Yo Ching watches as Kai Sheng looks at the information and begins reflecting on what she sees. First, she paraphrases the key words using different words. So for this question, she writes this. It is important to understand the information depicted, so Kai Sheng analyzes what she sees. Then she looks for the most significant trends in the diagram. She writes an overview of the information presented, telling Yo Ching that this is one of the keys for her high score. This can be included in either the introduction or conclusion, and will usually be a couple of sentences. After noticing points to be highlighted, she thinks about how she would describe them. She considers the grammatical tenses that are relevant. As this graph covers years in the past tense grammar is appropriate to talk about the information. As the graph also has future predictions, she will use future aspects in her writing too. Kai Sheng makes a few notes, planning and organizing her thoughts to arrange her paragraphs effectively before she begins to write her summary. As she continues to write, she separates her paragraphs clearly and uses themes for each paragraph. This allows her to explain her ideas fully. She uses a variety of verbs and adjectives when describing the information in order to show a range of vocabulary. One of her favorite tools is to make notes on a line showing a variety of words to use to describe degrees of change for her essay. Yo Ching has learned a lot by watching Kai Sheng's process. Yo Ching practices this process many times for himself. Now Yo Ching finds himself ready to take the IELTS exam again, this time with confidence in a good process. He has also taken time to watch the British Council's other IELTS writing videos. He retakes the IELTS test and achieves his target score. If you follow the do's and don'ts for the IELTS Task 1 writing, you can increase your chance of a higher score, just like Yo Ching. The world speaks IELTS.
All right. Let's move to the task 2.
You want to crack IELTS Task 2 writing? You need to follow the Power Writing Plan. This is planning for your writing based on analysis of the question, organizing your ideas ahead of writing, writing itself, evaluating what you have written, revising and refining what you have written, addressing errors. The first step is to plan. This must be on the basis of the full question. Do not get distracted by specific words in the question. As a result, many test takers see a key topic word and then write an answer, but fail to answer the question fully. You must analyze the full question, identify the different parts to the question, clarify the specific topic, and understand the complete requirements in the question. Can you afford the time to plan your essay? You cannot afford not to plan. Firstly, it is vital you analyze the question and ensure your answer addresses the question completely. Secondly, it is better to separate tasks of idea generation and writing. It's difficult to do this at the same time. Finally, spending a little time planning at the beginning can save you time when writing and crucially addresses all the IELTS assessment criteria, so you will be more efficient and more effective. Next, you will want to identify all the key words. Underlining or circling these in the question can help focus your mind on what you need to write about. Then think of synonyms for these key words. For example, you can use these synonyms throughout your essay. This helps you demonstrate the range of your vocabulary. Then brainstorm possible ideas for all aspects of the question. You must decide your position in relation to the task. For example, you may agree, disagree, or sit on the fence. For the same exam question, you might have these ideas. Alternative forms of transport should be encouraged. Agree. Alternative transport. More cars equals more pollution and traffic congestion, therefore unhealthy and inefficient cities. Public transport. More efficient and environmentally friendly. For example, subway and metro and public bus high use, therefore specialist lanes. International laws introduced to control car ownership and use. Disagree. Control. Restrict personal freedom and choice. International laws. Car and oil industry will strongly object versus powerful industries, so little chance of this. Conclusion? In principle, agree. Alternative transport possible. Control and international laws difficult. That is the planning stage. Then move to organize. Here you need to select and organize your ideas. Break them into separate paragraphs and then be ready to expand the ideas. Aim for an idea, explain, example approach. The idea introduction will effectively be your topic sentence. Then also think about the linking between sentences and paragraphs. Here you are addressing the coherence and cohesion criteria of IELTS writing. Now you are ready to write. Pay attention to your plan and roughly how much you have written. Remember, there is a 250-word requirement for IELTS Task 2. When you finish writing, you need to evaluate. Be sure you have answered all parts of the question. This is critical to the task response criteria of IELTS writing. If you realize you have not addressed all parts of the question, you may need to add more. Finally, you are ready to edit and revise the essay. Look through your writing for possible spelling and grammar errors you might have made. We all make these. Doing this is critical to the grammar criteria of IELTS writing. This should then be the 5 stages of writing: planning, organizing, writing, evaluating, revising, and refining. If you follow the 5 stages for power writing, you will have a better chance of cracking the IELTS Task 2 writing. Look out for other videos on IELTS speaking, writing, listening, and reading. Good luck with IELTS.
All right, let's go on for reading today.
So, you've decided to take the IELTS exam. Great choice. It's the test that opens doors around the world. These are the key details of the IELTS reading test. The test includes 40 questions spread over 3 articles. You have a total of 60 minutes for the reading test. Unlike the IELTS listening, there is no additional time to transfer answers, so write these directly onto your answer sheet as you proceed through the test. Read the instructions very carefully. Be familiar with the different question types. Here's some advice to prepare for the reading test. Practice reading skills, such as skimming. Skimming means looking over an article or paragraph to identify the key themes or general ideas. This includes paying attention to titles, subtitles, keywords, and topic sentences. Scanning. Scanning is when you are looking for specific information, perhaps a number or a name or a date. If you know the specific type of answer you need to find, you don't need to read every word in the article. For example, if you know you need to find out how much money something costs, run your eyes quickly down the article, looking for a number with a currency indicator. Then decide if this is referring to what you were looking for. Skimming provides a bird's eye view of some material. Scanning helps you swoop down to locate the specific details you need. Another key skill is intensive reading. This helps you to understand the details in an article. When you practice reading tests, don't read an article intensively to start with. This is a common mistake. First, skim the article quickly. Get a sense for what the subject of the article is and look at the title, any headings or diagrams. Read the first sentence of each paragraph to determine the theme of each paragraph. Make notes around the article as you do this. Then, read with specific purpose. Read the questions and be clear what you are looking for. Once you have skimmed and scanned, you are prepared to analyze the questions carefully, circling keywords and thinking of synonyms for those keywords. Don't expect to find the exact same words in the article. Then, use your scanning and skimming skills to home in on the right paragraph in the article. Here, you'll need to read in detail to find the specific answer to each question. To improve your reading skills, read as much as you can. Anything you read in English is good practice, and the more variety, the better. There are no shortcuts or secret techniques. You will only improve with time, practice, and persistence. For more information on IELTS, please see our other videos on speaking, writing, and listening.
Okay, dear viewers, so we've got some recorded information from the British Council. I believe that it should be helpful for you to understand how you can practice in all of the IELTS different parts, especially speaking, writing, and reading. We'll continue our reading, more explanation with other tips and techniques tomorrow. Until then, make sure you practice whatever you learn from anyone. And thank you very much once again for coming here. All right, I'll see you when I see you. Take care and bye.